one of the closest things we have got to normalcy, one of the closest things we have got to reality, I guess, was the NFL draft. The NFL draft was last week, started Thursday and went on through the weekend. And man, it was so interesting because there's no, I'm not hiding anything here. I'm a huge sports fan, and I've always been a huge sports fan, and I've always been obsessed with sports. And I can't tell you the last time I missed a Monday Night Football or Sundays during the NFL or holy to me, and college football Saturdays and stuff like that. So sports for me has always been an outlet. Sports have always been a release for me, and going into the NFL draft, I had my doubts of just how it would play out, just how sports would interact in this world. Part of me was wondering how the draft itself would happen, how the draft would operate as far as, Goodell being in his house, all these owners, all these coaches being in their homes, the players being in their homes, no pomp and circumstance. And I'll tell you this. I said before the draft that, the NFL doesn't lose. The NFL does not lose to COVID. The NFL doesn't lose to anything. We said on this podcast that the NFL stole a day of the week, and they stole it from God. They own Sundays. So I had a feeling the NFL would rise to the occasion, if you will. But I did not expect them to rise to the occasion to this extent. The NFL, and maybe it's because of the circumstances of just we needed something, but it felt like this was the first time that COVID or coronavirus or the quarantine or whatever was on the back foot. This felt like the NFL was putting on an absolute clinic, and everything just felt, I just wanted to shoot off fireworks, like Roman candles, fist pump, listen to Bruce Springsteen, and drink a Budweiser. It was so America. It kind of had that feeling of when Bush threw out the first pitch after 9/11. And again, it's just sports. And sports is just such an interesting thing. And I think in most of the time, sports just detaches us from reality, right? It's something that we can all get behind and we can all root for. The rules are simple. Supposedly there's no corruption. Supposedly there's no, voting, or there's no agenda. It's just pure. It's pure. And it takes you back to being a kid, or it takes you back to the simplest of rules. Life is full of these confusing ass rules, and sports are not. Sports are defined. Get this ball across this line. Put this ball in this hoop. You get 3 points for this. You get 5 points for this. You're going to play for this set amount of time. Whoever has the most points wins. There's a winner. There's a loser. It's clean. And normally, that's kind of how sports are. And that's why we gravitate to sports. Just that 3 hours. Give me 3 hours to totally detach from my water bill. I don't care about my water bill. I don't care about my mortgage. I care about what that team is doing on the field. But this time, along with possibly detaching, sports did something different. They didn't want to detach. COVID, coronavirus, healthcare workers, all that stuff was front and center during the draft. It was mentioned a lot. A lot of video packages. We knew what was going on. So there wasn't this illusion of detachment. But what this gave us, and I think the NFL draft was the perfect thing for it, was it gave us hope. It gave us this very obvious metaphor, a very obvious thing of hope. And it gave us a shot into people's households. We were into households. We saw families. We saw friends. We saw happiness. We saw these 18, 19, 20-year-olds full of hope, full of excitement for a new chapter in their lives. Now, a new chapter in their lives being playing professional football. But watching that turning of the page, and I'm not a professional football player. I'm not getting drafted, right? If anything, I spend most of my time draft dodging, if you know what I'm saying. But to watch them feel that hope. And all the teams and all the fans feeling hope of, okay, well, we're drafting this quarterback, we're drafting this wide receiver, we're drafting this running back. Maybe our team can be good. That feeling of hope just compounded, and all of a sudden I felt like the whole nation was wrapped up in this feeling of hope and this feeling of working towards something. The NFL season is in September, and we're feeling this excitement for the future. We're feeling this excitement for something down the road. And the NFL draft just gave us such a relief, such a powerful relief from what we've been currently experiencing. I'm not surprised. I'm not super surprised because I felt like the NFL or I felt like sports will do that, especially once they start kicking off. And just like I said, the NFL is not going anywhere. The NFL season is not getting postponed. The NFL season is not getting suspended. Anybody who thinks that it would, anybody who thinks that COVID or coronavirus could derail the NFL into September, it ain't happening. It is not happening. So when the NFL kicks off, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, if you thought the draft was strong, if you thought the draft was full of excitement and full of hope and full of opportunity and full of all that stuff, patriotism, the first week of the NFL is going to be unbelievable scenes. The fireworks, the red, white, and blue, the Star-Spangled Banner, the whole 9 yards, or I guess the whole 100 yards in this situation. But the NFL, I think, will be like the final boss for coronavirus. Roger Goodell and the NFL will be what puts coronavirus in the grave. And it sounds so crazy. It sounds I just saying that makes, God, I hate this chair so much. God, man, like, what makes a chair squeak like this? I mean, like listen to that. That's awful, man. I feel like I'm on a damn motion ride. Like I feel like I'm in a cheap amusement park. I gotta get a new chair. For this. It drives me crazy. But it sounds crazy to even think about. It sounds crazy to say, oh yeah. The biggest pandemic, the biggest global disaster in the history of humankind is going to be derailed by the NFL. I get that sounds kind of crazy, but it's more than the NFL. The NFL and football and all that is just, it's more than the game. I don't know why or I don't know how, but when people gather for Monday Night Football, when they gather for the Super Bowl, when they gather for just a football party, we've all been there. And you root for a team. Where I live, a lot of people are Saints fans. A majority of people are Saints fans. And whenever everyone gathers for a Saints game and there's food everywhere and people are screaming and they're excited and people have bets and people have their fantasy team, like it's just something, it's indescribable, I guess. It brings people together. It's the best of the best. It's the best of that 3 hours. And people need that right now so damn bad. They need that. And I get excited thinking about it. And I think that coronavirus, it'll probably be done by then. I mean, September's a long way away. You're already seeing kind of an opening and a reopening. You're kind of already seeing that. You're kind of already seeing businesses open up and restaurants open up and and we're not even in May yet. So to think that it would last through May and June and July and all that, I think September it will probably be back to normal, but that will absolutely be the next wave, the next chapter into normal.